So I'm going to work out problems on this screen, and I appreciate you sending some stuff over that helps to get us started right away. At the end of the lesson, I'll send you a copy of the notes by PDF. I recommend, or as a PDF by email. I recommend taking notes and asking questions along the way. I know you've got WebAssign. We'll work through those. The other thing is I'm screen recording, so I upload to YouTube. Takes about 12 to 24 hours, depending on day and time of the lesson, to get that uploaded. But
Okay.
that's in case you want to look at it later on. But that is all I had to say. We can certainly get started here. Is there a particular order that you want us to go through with these?
Maybe starting with the matrix multiplication, if we
Okay,
can.
sure. So what I'm seeing here, like these are already done. So do you want to do exactly these problems? Do you want to send ones like these? What would be best for you?
Just like similar problems.
Okay. Sometimes they will give you an option to practice another version. Yeah. So if you want, we can do these obviously, or you could share your screen, practice another, and I could grab a snip of it. What would be best?
Oh yeah. I can do the practice another.
Okay. All right. So let me do this here. I'm gonna make you co-host, and I'll you can share your screen here. Let me do that. All right, so you should be able to share your screen. It's the green button that says new share whenever you're ready. And I'll grab a snip of whatever you want us to work on.
Perfect. So practice another.
Yes.
All right, perfect.
Okay, great. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab a snip and then I'll reshare my screen. And
Perfect.
we'll do this, okay. All right, so if you're seeing my screen, let's let that load up here. It asks you to do A plus B minus C, and you have these matrices. Now, are you allowed to use a calculator in this class?
Yeah.
Like a TI-83?
Yep. I
84?
have one.
Okay, so I can show you how to do that using the calculator or by hand. This one doesn't gain you much using the calculator because you're literally going entry by entry. So it's like 0, negative 0.5, and -1. You're using those three elements to get your first answer. So it's from A, it's 0 plus the minus 0.5 minus a -1. That's how you're going to get that top left entry there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see pretty straightforward. Now, would you like me to show you how to do this in the calculator?
Yeah.
Okay,
Please.
give me a moment here to get that loaded up. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to sharing the virtual TI-83 here. If you've got a TI-84, it's very similar. Not going to be much difference. So you go to, let me just check here, math. No, it's not math, it's matrix. You go to a second matrix, and then you go over to edit. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter for that. And then we have to do the size of the matrix. So it's rows and then columns. So A has 3 rows, and then you put a 2 in for the number of columns, and notice it updates right away.
Yeah.
So 0, -2, make sure you use that negative symbol there, and then you just update the ones that are given here. Most of the mistakes are made not entering this correctly, so just double check that each time. 0, -2, 2, 0, 2, 1. All right, so now I'm going to quit out of that, and then I go back to second matrix, and this time I'm going to edit B, and I'm going to change the size. So again, it's a 3 by 2, and I'm just going to enter in those in for the cells there. So -0.5, 1, 0.5, minus 2. So have you seen this before, maybe in a previous class or in this class?
Yeah,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
in this class.
Awesome. Okay. And then the last one there, this will save you a ton of time on multiplication for sure. So another 3 by 2. Now the thing when you're adding matrices is they have to be the same size. They have to be completely the same size when you're adding and subtracting them.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then there is no solution. Is your exam in WebAssign also? Or is it an in-person exam?
It's in person on
Okay.
paper.
All right. So sometimes they want you to show, or you want to make a note that, hey, I put these into the calculator here. All right.
Oh,
So
yeah.
now, I've done a lot of work, but we actually haven't gotten the answer. So you have to do a bit more. You have to go back to matrix. And this time you actually grab the matrix. You don't go to edit. You just click on A plus second matrix B minus second matrix. And then you grab the third one there, C. And then you
Okay.
hit enter, and there's your answer.
Perfect. Okay.
All right. So whenever you're ready, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, we can look at another problem.
Yeah. Looking at the ones I sent you, I think I actually opened the wrong assignment.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Okay. Can you see my screen right now?
I can. Yeah. Matrix multiplication 5.2.
Okay. These ones are what are confusing me with the multiplication.
Got it. Got it. Here we go. Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen in just a moment. All right. Now, do you think you will have to show any of this work by hand, or can we go right to the calculator for this?
I think I can go right to the calculator for it.
Okay. Just maybe double check that. But first thing you have to do, you have to write down is the size of these. So the one on the left here, which I'm going to call A, it's 1 row by 4 columns. And then B,
Okay.
B is 4 rows by 3 columns. So it's always row by column.
Yeah.
Right. Now what has to match, these have to match. Okay. Now your answer, and the calculator will do this for you, but your answer, your result will have this size. It's going to be a 1 by 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the calculator, and we're going to do the basically the same thing. We're going to enter the matrix into the calculator. So I'm going to go to second matrix. I'm going to go to second matrix. There it is. This time I'm going to edit. So I'm going to edit that first one. I'm going to change it to 1 by 4. So if you forget, if you mix up rows and columns, just make sure the calculator matches what you have here on your problem. 1, -1, 2, and 3. All right. Go back to second matrix. I'm going to edit B. It's arbitrary. You could go down to D, E, F, G. Doesn't really matter. Just know which one you're working on. This is a 4 by 3. Got it. Okay. So 1, 3, 0. All right, it's a good idea to just do a visual scan, see if everything kind of looks the way you want. All right. And but there's another way to do that as well, and I'll show you that now, is if I grab matrix A and just hit enter, it will show me the matrix, 1, -1, 2, 3, and I'll do, and that's just another way to kind of check that you're on the right page here, because obviously there's not always partial credit on these things. So they look good. So now I'm going to go back and grab matrix A. Now, did it say to do A times B? Let me look here. Yeah. So we're going to grab matrix A, and then you don't have to put any operators. You can grab the next matrix and put them right next to each other. Hit enter. There's your answer.
Okay, so if you're doing it like by hand, can you show me how to do that?
Yes. Yes. Let me go back to the other screen.
Thank you.
You will not like the by hand, but that is maybe what's
like rows times columns, but
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So first thing is I mentioned that there's kind of a, let me do it with there's kind of like a answer 1, answer 2, answer 3, because it's a 1 by 3. So to get this first one here, you take, like you just said, you take the row and the column, and you're like, well, how do I know which row? How do I know which column? It comes from the answer. So this one right here is row 1, column 1. So you use row 1 of the first one, column 1 of the second one, and you pair these together. So 1 times 1 plus, then you grab this -1 times 3, 2 times 0, and then 3 times 1. So 1 minus 3 plus 0 plus 3, and that doesn't equal 1. Where did I make a mistake here? No, it does equal 1. I'm sorry. It does equal 1. Okay. And that's what we expect to do that.
Okay.
All right. Now let me show you one more here for that second one. So if you look at the second position, that's row 1, column 2, and in your answer, it's the first row, column 2 of your answer. So that's row 1, column 2. And then you pair them up together again. It's 1 times 3, -1 times 1, 2 times the 7, and then the 3 times the 7.
Yeah. Okay.
3, -1, 14, and 21. So that does add up to 35, I think. 37. Sorry, 37. All right. Should we do the last one here, or do you feel like you got it?
I think I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, whenever you're ready, if you want to go ahead and share your screen, we'll look at something new.
Number 16.
All right. Would you mind squeezing the window to the left a little, so that it's not so wide for this?
Yeah. Like, oh.
Maybe like half screen. Is that at all possible?
Yeah. It goes to like there without cutting the words off.
Yeah, that's good. It'll just make it easier, more readable. Thank you. All right. All right, should be seeing my screen now.
Yeah.
It says in January, the Left Coast bookstore sold 700 hardcover books, 1,800 softcover, 2,000 plastic books. They're kind of helping here by putting, it's kind of a numbers match. It's like, okay, 700 is there. So probably it's 1,800 and then 2,000 here.
Yeah. Oh.
There's kind of a pattern to that. Let's see if the pattern continues. 400 hardcover, 300 softcover, and 500 plastic. See how the 500 matches up there?
Yeah.
So your in this one, maybe the other ones are more difficult, but this one you're just populating those cells with the given values.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you just multiply them.
Yeah, so might be good to do one of these by hand, not sure. This row times this column gives you
Yeah.
this one here.
Yeah. So
But I
you
would,
just do,
sorry, go ahead.
yeah. No, we can write it out. I was just, yeah, that's good.
With the format, sometimes I interrupt and I don't mean to. It's just the
No.
awkwardness of the Zoom sometimes.
Yeah. No, I didn't think you were.
So this right here, result goes here. I would still do it in the calculator. Even like if it said to show work, I would write it out and I would put it in the calculator and use the calculator answer. This calculator
Okay.
will not make mistakes. Just always double check that you've got it entered in right. And that would be your answer
Yeah.
for that.
Perfect.
One of the reasons I was asking about the format of your test is sometimes when it's WebAssign, especially, you just get exactly the same questions with different numbers. In person, they might grab a question from here, but they have more. They can do, they have more options on paper.
Yeah. Yeah. The the last exam was like similar to the WebAssign. But yeah, it could be different.
Are you a business major? Or are you going into
Yeah, finance.
gallery? Okay, cool.
All right, well, that makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. Whenever you're ready, if you want to share another question, be happy to.
Yeah.
All right. It's sharing the mail, the email.
Oh, oops. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm seeing your email again as well. Just that one email. Now it's so it
No,
looks like you were sharing. You might want to reshare. There you go.
is it sharing the right thing now?
Yes, now it's the 4.2 Gauss-Jordan row reduction.
Okay, perfect.
And just for the future, I'm happy to help you work through homework problems. You know, if you need a lesson, the
Yeah.
past, I've been able to go through maybe 2 assignments in a lesson with students of this type.
Okay. Thank you. Um. Okay. Um. Wait. This.
All
Do
right.
you see the number 6 there?
Yes, I grab a snip. Is the answer to the previous one, the one below it there, the x comma x minus 1.2?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. This one we will probably be doing in the calculator, if that's allowed or that's okay.
Yeah.
You got to know how to first enter it into the calculator. So it's everything but it's all the coefficients. So it's 1 from 1x
Yeah.
minus 1 from 1y, so on. And then you do include the right-hand side.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna make a 2 by 4 in the calculator. I'm gonna do that next. All right, so I'm gonna edit that first one, 2 by 4. And we got 1, -1, 7, 8. All right, so from here, you quit out, you do, you go back to matrix and you go to the math this time, okay?
Okay.
And now you're going to go up to RREF, not ref, RREF, it's B. You grab that, you hit enter. Now it needs an argument, and the argument is the matrix that you just calculated. So you grab matrix A, you should close the parentheses, you don't have to, and then you hit enter. All right. And so I'm going to snip this in. And we'll talk about how to actually enter the answer.
Okay.
We do this because it's a little awkward. It's based on how WebAssign wants it. So, okay, let me go back to the other screen. Any questions on that? RREF, knowing how to use it, how to find it?
No, that makes sense.
All right. Okay, so the way this answer is presented in the calculator, I'm sure you're seeing that screen. Yes, you are. This first column is for X, the second column is for Y, and this is for Z. So but this time what's really awkward is they want you, and they're telling you to do this. That's why I don't know if this will be on your test. It's kind of awkward. They say X is the X coordinate and Y and Z are functions of X. Okay, and so your answer, there's three parts to your answer. There's the X part, which they're saying is X, and then there's the Y part and the Z part that we have to now get from this thing here.
Yeah.
All right, and this is the sort of the awkwardness of it. So do you mind, I didn't grab a snip of it. Do you mind just sharing your screen one more time with
Yeah.
with that actual number 6, the one below it there? Thank you. So I can kind of, okay, yeah, it's not too bad. That is the one they're doing. All right, let me go back here. Okay, so the way that this is working is the last row here, this right here, this 1 comma, this 1 1 here, if you're seeing that, what that means is 1Z equals 1, or basically Z equals 1. That's what you're populating in the last spot here. Now the Y is really complicated. We have to grab it from the first row here. So what this says, it says X minus Y equals 1. There's no Z because of the 0 there. And you have to solve this for Y. So I would add Y to both sides. And so this is X equals 1 plus Y, and then subtract the 1. Okay, this is what they want in that second position, X minus 1.
Okay, yeah.
It's kind of awkward.
Mhm.
If it wasn't fully clear, I mean, this is probably not going to be on your test. This is not the kind of thing they're emphasizing in this class.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right. So whenever you're ready, if you want to share your screen again, we'll look at something else.
This one doesn't have, I can't do another version of it, but it's like a very similar question.
To which number?
Number 5.
Number 5.
I'm just wondering, like, if there's 3 equations.
Does it
do
say,
it?
I'm not seeing you share your screen, but is the use the
Oh.
Gauss-Jordan row reduction, and then it says
Yeah.
no solution?
Oh yeah, there's no solution.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about why that is. And let me grab a snip. And we'll, it does require us to go to the calculator, but
Okay.
it's worth doing. You will use your calculator a ton in this class,
Yeah.
at least for this part of the course. Okay, so back to the calculator. I'm going to enter the matrix for the just like we did in the previous problem. So I'm going to go over to edit. This time it has 3 rows and 4 columns. So the coefficients are 1, 1, -8, 3. Keep going here. 1, -1, -7, 0. And then 2/7. And then there's no y, so that's 0. And -15/7. And then 6. Okay, so you get that all in. Quit out, or quit, second quit. So you go back, you do the same thing we did before. So go to second matrix, math, RREF, it's under B. It's a lot of build up to. There's not a lot to this here. So let me snip this in and go to the other screen to give you a small explanation for this. So again, just to be clear here, it was 1, 1, -8, 3, 1, -1, -7, 0, 2/7, 0, -15/7, 6. And then your answer, when you do your RREF, is this. So focusing on the last row here, the last row, all zeros and a 1. That's really important. All zeros followed by a 1. So what that means is 0x plus 0y plus 0z equals 1. This is an impossible statement.
Mhm.
So that's why there's no solution. So if you see a row of zeros followed by a 1, that means there's no solution.
Okay.
Okay, but there is another possibility, which is if you get an entire row, all zeros in the bottom, including that one on the right, that means there are infinite solutions.
Okay.
You may see that or have seen that on a homework assignment.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome.
Um,
So whenever you're ready, if you want to share your screen, we can look at something else.
um, so number 10, would you just enter it like how we just did and go to that same thing, like the B,
They're
like
giving
this?
they're giving you the result of doing it. They're saying like, we already put it
Oh,
into the
so
calculator. And that's what I was referring to, where it's got a row of zeros.
yeah.
So let me try to
Oh,
explain with this. Let me grab a snip here real quick so I can explain, because you want to know how to go from the RREFA matrix to the answers there on the bottom.
yeah.
All right, and this is where it maybe sort of taught differently in the classroom. Did they talk about free variables in the classroom at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
So so what's different here about the WebAssign is they say, hey, I want an X and a Y, but they tell you that if you don't know one, that to use X.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like when you're looking at this thing, you read the instructions like, all right, well, that's X. And now we did this in a previous problem. You look at that first row. If I could get my highlighter to work here. Okay, there it is. You look at that first row and you write it out as 1x plus 2y equals 6. So that last column is always the right-hand side of the equation.
Yeah.
And then you solve for y. Okay, so you subtract x from both sides, divide by 2, and there's your answer.
Okay.
So now this is the type of problem I could give you one just like it and ask you to try it if you wanted. I like to practice another on the WebAssign because obviously that's what you're going to see. But if you ever want a similar problem and I can do it, I can always create one for you real quick.
Yeah. Yeah. I can create another, or if you
It's
want
a
to make.
I'll make if so just to be clear on this. Yeah, let's say this is the answer again here. Let's say it's 1, 3, -2, 0, 0, 0. The first one is X. So you're going to write an equation just like I did over here for the top row, and you're going to solve it for Y. You want to give that a try? See if you have any questions
Yeah.
on that.
Should I say what I'm doing, or should I just
No,
do it?
no. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, you're like, what do you want me to do? It's up to you. I mean, some students, some people are really, they like to say the steps. I want to know if you have any questions, basically how I'd like to see you know if you can work this out. So try it on your own. If you'd like to say the steps out loud, you can. Just give me your answer when you're done. Probably the best thing. So yeah, just work it out. You don't have to show me anything, and just want to make sure you can do it for the exam, basically.
Yeah. I got negative, or x comma -2 minus x over 3.
Yes. Very good. Okay. All right. So yeah, whenever you're ready, if you want to share another problem. When is your exam? If you haven't, I don't think you mentioned that.
It's in 3 weeks.
Oh, you're okay. You're way ahead of the game.
Yeah, we have spring break right now, so
That's
trying
right.
to.
That's right. I hope you're doing something fun.
Thank you. My family's all coming down, so
Nice.
my boyfriend surprised me today. He's listening.
Right. He's probably like, hey, get done with the tutoring. We have all right.
Just waiting. Go away.
Okay. Number, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I just need to check which numbers it was. Perfect. Can you see the number 6 there?
Yes, that's this is a good problem to do. So this one you cannot do with a calculator. So
Okay.
I mean you kind of can, but it's cumbersome. So let's look at this one here. I'll share my screen. Okay. Do you know what this means right here?
Not exactly, but I think I know
It's
how
a
to do it.
okay, that's good. Yeah, so it's called matrix inverse, and with a 2x2 matrix, there's a formula. So the first thing you have to do is find what's called the determinant of the matrix, and this is done by multiplying diagonally. So you take that
Okay.
2 and multiply it by the 5, and you subtract the 4 times the p. And what this can never be, this cannot be 0. Okay, so there's a value where when you do this multiplication and addition, subtraction here, you get 0. So basically you're just solving this equation for p. 10 minus 4p cannot equal 0. However you like to do this, I like to move the variable to the other side, divide by 4. So p, well, what is the value of p? P is 5/2. That's what it's looking for there. Basically, that's what it can't be to not exist, because the
Yeah.
determinant of the matrix is 0. Now, a little more information here. When you actually find the inverse, you need the determinant of that original matrix. And that's why it does not exist, because you can't divide by 0.
Okay. Yeah. So is the 2 times 5 minus 4p, is that like a in like absolute value signs? Is that like
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so they use different notations. In your class, this means the diagonal multiplication. It's
okay.
called the determinant.
Okay. Thank you.
This can also be done in the calculator if you actually have to calculate the determinant. It's under the matrix math again. There's a DET button.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, can I share the screen again?
Yes, yeah, whenever you're ready. Yeah, if you want to queue up another problem. And normally I would just go through the problems you sent, but since they're all done and
Yeah.
it wasn't really an opportunity there for this. All right, so number 10.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, share screen. Here we go. All right, now it says here to use matrix inversion, like they're telling you, you must use this method.
Yeah.
If this were a WebAssign test, you could just use any method you want, but because you have to show this method, you have to do it the way that they're requiring. So the first thing to do is you write the coefficient matrix, and that's the one on the left here. So 4, 1, 4, -5. X and Y are the variables. Then on the right-hand side here, we're going to make a new matrix here for the numbers on the right-hand side. So it's trying to color code it here in case you're looking later and figuring out where did it come from. So the idea, the solution here when you use matrix inversion is the following. Consider this matrix A and this B for the moment. Your answer is the inverse of A times B. Okay. Now, do you think you're going to have to show the inverse by hand, or do you think we can go to the calculator and do that?
I think I might have to show it by hand.
Okay, very good. So let me quickly find the formula for the inverse of a 2 by 2. You switch and negate some things, and I don't want to mix those up for you. So let me find a quick image for that.
Thank you.
This looks pretty good. Do you get a reference sheet or note card for your exams?
No.
Okay, so you will have to memorize this. All right, so you just pair things up here. It's like, all right, I got 4, 4, 1, and -5. So the first thing is what we did before, which is the determinant. So you're gonna you'll find the determinant of A like we did in the previous problem. You take 4 times -5 minus 4 times 1. -20 minus 4 is -24, like that. And that's this bottom piece here. So it's 1 over -24 times. All right, now A, B, C, D, A and D are switched or swapped. So the diagonal ones are just moved, -5 and 4. C and B are in the same position. They're just negated. So since they're both negative or both positive, they go negative like this. And that is your inverse. So everything we just did here is the inverse. And then your B is -4 times -4. And that's what I was asking. That's what I was asking if you had to do this by hand, because from here it's still kind of a pain. You have to do row times column and then multiply by 1 over -24. Most of the time they want you to set it up and then go to your calculator to do. If you put this in your calculator, it will give you fractions. if you don't mind, I'd like to show you how to deal with that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
All right, here we go. Clear this out.
Um,
Question?
Also just to clarify, so when it's like a fraction times matrix, do you have to multiply the matrix first and then multiply it by the fraction always?
The order actually doesn't matter
Like-
when it with the
This multiplication.
it's multiplication. But you do
Okay.
multiply every element in A inverse by the fraction.
Okay.
There's too many rules. Not I'm you know,
Yeah.
when I explain this, I'm like, wow, I now remember why this is so complicated, because it's too many things to remember. So what I'm doing in the calculator,
Yeah.
I'm going to put in that original matrix just so you can see how this is done on the calculator side, because everything should work. Like, it should all be the same. And then I'm going to go back to, it's time for B. B will be a 2-column by 1-column. And that's the -4 -4. All right, so I'm going to quit out. So this time I'm going to grab matrix A. And this time the inverse button is the one maybe you're used to. It's the X to the -1 there.
Okay.
And then when I hit enter, you see you get these horrible decimals. So you go to
Yeah.
math, enter for fraction, enter, and it will convert them to fractions whenever possible. And you can actually see that that's consistent with what we previously found, but that's not the final answer. That's just the inverse part.
Yeah.
Okay, so to do the final answer, you have to get the same thing. So I'm going to go back and grab it here. Inverse times, so you're going to multiply this. You don't have to show the multiplication. Grab matrix B. So you probably saw me write that earlier. A inverse B, hit enter, and there's your answer. Kind of amazing. Works out so
Yeah.
nicely.
So can you show one more time how you did the A inverse?
Yeah, of course. All right, so just clear this out here. So you go back to, and you grab the matrix. That's the key. I'll hit enter here just to make sure that's the same one. 4, 1, 4 -5. That's great. So you go grab the matrix again, and then the inverse button is the one that's below math,
Oh, okay.
like that. And that's where when you do it, you're like, all these decimals, I don't like that. So you hit math, and this means to convert it to a fraction. And you get the nice fractional results that you want.
Thank you.
Of course. So just to be clear here, the final answer is, and I'm writing this on the other screen, X is -1, Y was 0. If you're not able to use your calculator today, like at some point, I would recommend practicing these so you're not seeing it for the first time on the test.
Yeah, I have my calculator. Okay, I'm
Awesome.
following.
Awesome. All right, well, we can share your screen. Probably could do at least maybe one more problem if you want.
Okay, perfect. I have just one more. Oh. Okay, the one right below it. This one's kind of a long.
I can almost tell you for sure this is not going to be on your test, this encrypted matrix thing. But it also requires doing some other things that are beyond. But you do multiply the two matrices, the encrypted, or you use that 4, 2, 1, 3 matrix, and then the other one you split it up. I would go to your teacher and ask, say, hey, is this going to be on the test, or is this something I need to study? Because there's actually a few other things going on here that are maybe not obvious. Like, notice that the 1, 2, 15, 18, they're split between the two rows, kind of every other one, which is odd.
Yeah, I was wondering, do you know, so like the original, this one that I just
Yes,
highlighted
yes.
has like an odd number of things.
Yeah,
So
they pad, they put a 0 at the end because that's a white space.
Yeah. So if you were rewriting it, you could always do it like that if there's an
Yes.
odd number.
Yeah, I mean, this is in cryptography. There's a lot of things that
Yeah.
they're kind of hiding from you that are not, you don't need to
Yeah.
know. But it's a good question because like, why, how does this even work?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think like we didn't do this in class, so I don't
Yeah.
really think it's that important, but I was very confused.
Thankfully, there's
Um,
similar problems out there on the internet.
yeah. Um, I don't really have any other problems. That was all the ones I had.
All right. Let me just so I'll stop the recording here. Let me just make a few other comments before let's see here, stop the recording.